Okay, great. So now we're recording. So before we start, can we just get everyone's agreement that we can share this video publicly by either putting your thumbs up where we can see it or a verbal yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome. Okay, great. Cool. So first of all, I just want to acknowledge and thank all of you for being in this flow of everything that's happening. We're doing a bit of weaving and flowing now with the flow of, you know, what's coming to us and how we're managing it and what we're doing. And so I just want to acknowledge that, you know, it's a learning process for all of us. I know we're all, you know, at different stages of the learning process. I know that I'm having a lot of learning process right now myself. I think you guys are seeing that, where I continue to, you know, evolve and change and all of that. So one thing just to begin with, I just want to acknowledge and apologize to Alexis and Renasia for the way that I received what they shared earlier today in the chat. And I got to talk to Alexis about it personally, and I was supposed to talk with Renasia about it right before this meeting, and I missed that meeting too, which is very rare for me. And I apologize to Renasia. I sent her a chat. I apologize, Renasia, for missing the meeting as well. You know, we'll get into that. It just, to me, you know, is another representation of a little bit of overwhelm that I've been experiencing, which is, you know, kind of being felt on certain levels within the project. And that's where, you know, I want to take ownership of that and apologize for any of the ways that, you know, any of my own kind of stress that I've been feeling, different stresses are, you know, coming out, and you guys are seeing and experiencing it. Almost all the time, I think you guys probably have a sense that I am pretty low key and, you know, take everything pretty, you know, well and all of that. I usually, you know, don't fly off the handle too much. But there are times, you know, when I have emotional reactions just like everybody. So, you know, I want to acknowledge that, and again, apologize for any impact that Renasia might have felt, Alexis might have felt, any of you might have felt by what I saw, which also, you know, I want to acknowledge as we get into it, is what they actually created is not at all what I thought in that moment, what I saw in that moment. So we're going to go into the details later in the meeting and actually, you know, look at what they created and break it down and talk about it as we talk about what we're doing with video processing, because that's going to be the main primary focus of this meeting. And I'm going to get into a lot of specifics around that. But before I do, we're going to, since this is a combined meeting of the research team and the production team and the outreach team, and the research team was right in the midst of a bunch of stuff before, you know, leading up to now. I'm going to have Katie go ahead and lead the meeting for a little bit, and also thank and acknowledge Katie for taking on another week at the helm of the research team. So let's all give Katie applause. Thank you, Katie, for doing that and being willing to continue to jump in and being willing to lead us, which is awesome. I think you've done a great job leading this past week, and we're excited to have you leading some more. So that's really wonderful. So let me let you take it away, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you so much, Katie.
Yeah, thank you, Jared. Okay, I'm going to pull up the agenda real quick. There we go. So we really just have two main things to go over real quick. The first being the way that we are going to track our time this week. You're going to see in the Thursday meeting, we're looking into more sustainable methods. But for this week, you're going to go to this document. And as you can see, all the research team members are here. And so how we're going to do this is it kind of is focused around the different tasks that we're going to do. So you're going to put tasks that you're doing and how long you think that will take. And then once you are done with it, you're going to put what you actually spent on here and results. And for these days, essentially, for the longer term tests, what you're going to do is you're going to split your time into what you anticipate you're going to be doing during these specific days. And if you don't manage to get all the time, then you take the time that you didn't do and move it to another day. So for example, let's say I want to do a task of entering experts, and I'm going to spend anticipated 3 hours on it. Okay. And so I'm going to say, okay, I can't do anything Sunday. I'm going to do 1 day Monday, 1 hour Monday, 1 hour Tuesday, 1 hour Wednesday, and then 0, 0, 0. And then let's say, okay, I get to Monday and whoa, I have an assignment that I totally forgot about. I need to do this. I can go ahead and change that to 0. And I'm like, okay, I can do 2 hours on Tuesday. That's fine with me. So at the end of the day, I'm going to change that to Tuesday. And then, okay, I've finished my task, and yeah, it did end up spending 3 hours, and I got like, let's say 30 experts in. And so that would be the completion of that task. And I'm just going to keep entering my task and my time on the sheet. Does that make sense? Any questions? No? Okay.
It's a really great explanation, Katie. Actually, can you go back and undo those deletes you just did, just so I can say something about it real quick? Great, thank you. So the one thing, as you were kind of getting from what Katie was saying, is that basically, we want you to be forecasting, when you're going to be putting in hours on these different tasks, and then you get to see day by day, how many hours did I actually put in. So once the day passes, once Monday finishes, whatever is in the Monday column should be the actual amount of hours that you spent that day. Okay, so you're forecasting in advance. The coming days is a forecast, but any days that have passed is actually an accurate tally of however many hours you put in for that task on that day. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's the way that we're going to be keeping track, again, like Katie said, this week. And we're going to have like a kind of a little bit of a modified version of it, because most of the tasks are going to be pretty much, well, we'll see. We'll see how it all breaks down. That'll be a part of our brainstorming session, but that's really a great way to explain it, Katie. And thank you for taking the time to do that.
Okay, so that's tracking time. And the other thing we need to talk about is the research that we were going to do on the children's FDA presentation. So that's going to take a little bit of a backseat right now. We're going to focus on what we're going to be talking about with the video processing, but we'll come back to it and we'll talk about it later. But yeah, right now, the little pump breaks.
Right. And the one somewhat of an exception from that, you can stop sharing if you wouldn't mind for a moment, Katie. Yep. Is that some of you know that Sabah was planning to do the presentation to the FDA. She applied to present to the FDA, and she had specific things she wanted to cover in that presentation, and she had written into the application and all of that. So Sabah actually still wants to do the presentation like we had talked about last week that she might want to. She wants to record that in a couple of weeks from now. And she and I talked about it today. We had a meeting, and I saw again where that is, what's timely and topical now, right? So even though it's getting approved within the next few days, it's still going to be, some days or weeks before, a lot of kids are getting shots in arms. So the opportunity for Sabah to do this analysis and also to record the video and do all of these other things. It is a timely opportunity. So I don't want to, when Katie and I talked about it earlier today, I was saying that it was, at least going to be on pause for a week while we're doing all this other thing. But then when Sabah and I talked and she said she had like 7 or 8 hours available this week, I felt like she could, and she said that, with 4 hours of time, she could have her ready presentation. Sabah, let Sabah explain it in a minute, by a week from Thursday. And so I thought that was a good timeline. If she could have it ready by then, that we could then be, trying to work with some experts and putting together a panel video and that sort of thing. So I felt like it was worth it for Sabah to be able to spend 4 hours on that while spending 4 hours on the video processing that the rest of us are going to be doing. So let me just give Sabah a moment to say whatever she would like to say about it, and then we'll move on. But I want to at least let you guys know that it is happening in the background with Sabah. So any of you that really have, a real urge to be a part of this, children's X vaccine, analysis and presentation, let us know, like, in a minute, as soon as Sabah is done talking, because depending upon how many hours you have, maybe, you can have an hour or two. We have to look at the, how we're going to split it up. So we're going to majority focus on the other thing, but there may be an hour here, an hour there to work on that if you want. So let me have Sabah share. And then if any of you, feel a real urge to work with her on the children's vaccine, then go ahead and share after Sabah. Thank you, Sabah.
Yeah, thank you, Jared. So as I was talking to Jared this morning, we decided that by this week, I'll be polishing the mixed message analysis. And by the end of the next week, I'll be preparing for video presentation and for the children vaccination. So that's the plan for now.
Yeah. So again, we're on that timeline as a project anyhow, with Sabah kind of carrying that torch. So is there anybody that feels like they might have an extra hour or two and they want to support Sabah in that effort in addition to what we're doing this week? So anybody? Okay. So if anything changes, you can let me know, or you can let Katie know. We had, Alexis, you want to say something?
I don't mind helping out.
Okay. Let me think real quick. So you have, I'm trying to remember, like 12 hours this week, Alexis? Am I remembering correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So then I think, we can say that you can, let's have you work with Sabah for 1 hour at least. And then maybe after you've put in an hour, let's kind of touch base and see if you, feel compelled to put in another hour, or whether, that was enough. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. And does that work for you, Sabah? Okay, great. Okay, perfect. So that's what we'll go with as a plan. Great. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you for helping with that. That's wonderful. Okay, so again, if it should change, you can connect with Katie. We had set up last week, as you guys know, that there would be some preliminary children's vaccine research that you guys will have had done by today. We know we got our FDA presentation kind of blown up over the last few days or last week, with a real kind of crazy ending, which I'm going to share with you guys in a minute. But I was feeling, and I've shared this with some of you, that again, after we were rushing the week before last week for all the FDA stuff, and then you guys had your midterms last week, and we had the hours real scaled way back anyhow, and you guys were busy with that, and there was a bunch of things that I was juggling and dealing with, that I felt like last week was almost more like a breather week for all of us, to just kind of not be as accountable for all of our commitments as we had said, whether it was the research or what have you. I was kind of willing to let us all slide a little bit last week. Now we're in a position where it's time, for us to kind of, okay, good, we got our breath, now we get our second wind, now it's time to charge forward, because there's a lot to be done, like right now, like right away. We're right on the cusp of a lot of stuff, and it's all around this content, and that's what I want to kind of share with you guys. It's the content, because it's the content going out into the community, right? And we've talked about where, the ideas that we have to change the world are awesome, and they're going to be amazing as they're realized in the world. And we need the world participating in those ideas for them to come to fruition, right? It's like we actually have to have all the different people and companies and businesses and organizations and everything, that we're talking about, all have to come together as part of these solutions. So we have to start to make our way out in the world and develop this whole network of relationships that's going to allow all of these pieces of our puzzle to flow to us and put themselves where we need them, right? Like basically everything that we do could be done on a higher level with, professionals that do that thing all day long and have risen to the top of their occupation, right? So what there is for us to do is to welcome the whole world to work with us and give the world an opportunity to show up and provide what they can provide, so we can, have all of those people, all of those entities contributing, right? And so really the ideas that we have are super compelling, as you guys know, and it's just a matter of getting the concepts across to people. It's the communication right now. And again, we've talked about it. Right now, if you go to our website has hardly any of the stuff that we talk about in all of these meetings, right? And that's part of the challenge, is that, our website is very sparse with information right now. It doesn't have all the latest stuff all the time. It's not constantly changing with the latest, things that we're talking about. And so this is what we need to do, is that even if it's just a matter, and it's going to be more than that, but even if it's just a matter of taking all of these meetings and chopping them up into, 2-minute segment here, a 5-minute segment here, a little bit here, because like we've talked about, it's going to be a rare person that's going to sit and watch our meetings for an hour, right? They're going to have to be really interested or really, whatever. Most of the public isn't going to say, oh, let me watch this hour meeting to see what parts I can find that are interesting, right? Like we have to do the work of pulling out the interesting parts of those meetings, right? We have to do the work of organizing them and packaging them for people. Are you guys following me? I'm not getting to see a lot of you, so it's making it a little challenging to make sure that everyone's with me. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. Okay, great. And when you guys can come up back on video, all the better. So with that, what we're going to do, like we've talked about, and I mentioned it in the meeting, last Thursday in particular, and this is where I want to acknowledge even further, and I shared this with Alexis and others. I didn't get to share it with Renasia yet. Renasia and I are going to meet after the production team meeting, but I really felt like I did not set Renasia and Alexis up for success very well last week with the way that we created the assignment for the video processing. There was no video tutorial from me, and I could see where it could be maybe challenging to discern what I meant. And, I had this clear vision in my head, but it's not clear necessarily in the ways that I describe it with my voice. So what we're going to do this week is we're not going to have all of the video processing rely on Renasia and Alexis. What we're going to do is we're going to distribute it across everybody that's in this meeting right now. So there's 8 of us right now, let's say 7. I mean, I'll be helping you guys, but let's have you guys be generating the results. So the 7 of you, which are a combination of not only the production team, but the outreach team and the research team, because you guys, as you know, a lot of you cross over these teams anyhow, but also this gives us the most data points, because what we're going to be doing is each one of you are going to be, reviewing these videos independently so that we can be comparing. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be learning from each other. We're beginning a process that is made up. We're making up this process, but we're creating a model that I think is really going to be a valuable model, not only for us internally, but then we get to apply it to all of these experts, right? And all of these other, videos, that there's an hour-long video out there, and then you come along and you work to narrow it down to a 5-minute summary, almost like a Cliff Notes, right? Or something like that, executive summary. And so this is like a really valuable need in the world right now, right? Like, we have a lot of long content, but again, who has the bandwidth to be able to process that? So you guys are now kind of helping to pioneer what I think is going to be a really big emerging area, which is going to be people processing video and processing content. And it's not going to be, let me show you in let me look at the chat. Okay, Maria is back. Thank you, Maria. So okay. I know I skipped ahead a little bit. We're going to come back to a couple of these things I left in the agenda. But I just want to give you a sense. We're going to go through this one video that we're going to use as a model because it's a short video. It's like an 8-minute video. And I think that there's going to be different levels of processing. And that's what we're going to talk about and brainstorm about. I think there's going to be like a minutes level, like a transcript level, like a video cutting level. And last week I was talking about them all together and they were all getting confused. And that's, again, I think why what I described was probably confusing last week. And also adding to collections and organizing collections of information. This is something we haven't talked about directly, but this is a part of it, because it's not just chopping things up. Chopping things up is the first thing, but okay, you got all these pieces. Now, where do we put these pieces? Well, we have to put some of these pieces in this collection, some of these pieces in this collection, and some of these pieces over here. And we have to figure out how to organize all of that. So that's another part of it. And then, finally, as we get further down the line of evolution, is then we start to develop compilations of the information, right? So we have some bits from this meeting and some bits from this meeting and some bits from here and some bits from there. And we start to identify them and organize them and put, some script in between them. And now we've got a 5-minute video that tells the whole story with all of these different sources of information that we've created. So is everyone understanding the concept of what I'm sharing? Any questions about anything I'm sharing? So, the compilation, as I just described, maybe it's a 3-minute video, maybe it's a 5-minute video. That's like in the biggest extreme, right? That's like a video that's going to sit on our website, that's going to be, like describes the research team or the production team or something like that. So, we're going to have those types of videos, but also we're going to do these, you guys tell me the terminology. I'm still learning the terminology. So YouTube Shorts, is that right? Instagram Reels, am I getting these right? Maybe some TikToks, we'll see. TikTok videos. So, but whatever it is, we can chop things up into like 10-second soundbite here, 20-second soundbite here. And I'm going to show you some of those things. Okay, we're going to go through a video. We're going to find a 10-second soundbite that we can pull out and create as a, a quick post somewhere, right? Or something like that. So we'll get into that actual doing that in a minute. So is there any questions or comments before I jump back in? Nope. Okay. Let me just backtrack for just a moment because I want to bring these things in just to get them out of the way because we're going to finish up in this brainstorm mode. So first of all, just the FDA update. I just have to share with you guys because now we have closure to the story, to the mystery. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I'll try to recount the story really quickly just to remind you guys. So we submitted our application, both Sabah and I, last Tuesday, which was the deadline. And then they said that they would tell people by the following day, by Wednesday, whether they were selected or not. And on that Wednesday, Sabah got an email that said that she was not selected, but I did not get any email. And so the next day I was busy. I didn't really have time to follow up. I still didn't get an email from them. So then the following day on Friday, I sent an email to the FDA saying, I never received your email. Am I presenting or not? Actually what I said was, I assume I'm not presenting, but it would be great to know so we can have it for our records. So never heard back from them after that email on Friday. Then on Monday, yesterday, I ended up getting a call in the afternoon from their bridge line, from the same number that calls when you're doing a presentation. So I couldn't answer it at the time, but I noticed it and I'm like, why is the FDA calling me? I should, I need to follow up and see. And so I was planning to send them an email this morning, and I actually composed this email to them to say, hey, I got the call. I still never heard. But what happened in the meantime, as I was composing the email, is I got an email from Dr. Brown. So just to remind you guys, Dr. Brown, teaches at the University of Miami. He's the professor whose class I presented to, where the students came from to originally start the project, the Vaccine Considerations Project. And I'm going to be presenting to his class next Monday again, by the way, and I'll mention that in a moment. So I got an email from Dr. Brown saying, hey, I just want to follow up. I sent you this email on Sunday, but I just got a bounce message, that it didn't go through. And I was like, a bounce message? Why are you getting bounce messages? How is my email bouncing? So when he said that, I reached out to the host, our web host, and I said, I'm not getting this email. The email is bouncing. And I suspect that maybe this happened to the FDA. All of a sudden now it's clicking. It's like, oh my God, were the FDA trying to email me and it was getting bounced? And so I go back and forth with the host, and then the host says, oh yeah, your vaccineconsiderations.com domain is expired. And I was like, what? It's like, I had no concept that the domain had been expired, or even that could be the issue. And so he said that, and I looked, and it was actually expired since last week. And so I renewed it today right away as soon as I discovered it. But it turns out that in fact was why the emails were bouncing, is that that vaccineconsiderations.com was no longer getting forwarded to Uniting for Action since last week, and none of us knew it. And I typed in vaccineconsiderations.com into my browser, I don't know how many times over the last week. But the thing is that my browser cache knows that it forwards to unitingforaction.com. So it was doing it automatically without it actually trying to resolve vaccineconsiderations.com. So I never had a clue that there was a problem, and nobody else, noticed it or mentioned anything. So long story short, I ended up emailing the FDA this morning from my Gmail account saying, hey, I just discovered I'm having this email issue and I never heard back from you guys, we're not in a position to present, but what happened? And they said, oh yes, actually, in fact, you were selected. You were one of the people selected and you could present today, essentially. So it was really crazy. And then, just to make it more, like crazy real at the end, this is when I got the notification that I was selected. So this is the actual email that they send out when you get selected. And I received it at 5:15 today. So they sent it last Wednesday, but I actually received it at 5:15 today because that's when the renewal of the website, got registered. And that's when like all this email that had been piling up in my inbox over the last week finally went through. So anyways, it's kind of crazy. And it's really, it's sad and disappointing for me on one level that we had the opportunity to present to the FDA after all. And there was this kind of weird thing that happened that had us not know about it. But at the same time, and I don't know how many of you guys have experienced this kind of thing, is that I have a lot of divine synchronicities happen to me all of the time, and I notice it all of the time. And, as much as I thought that it was a great opportunity for us to present again this week, the way that it really taxed us the week before and last week having midterms and the ways it would have taxed us even more, and even just me, I don't know whether I could have, managed it. And I don't know whether our team could have managed it. And so to me, it's really a divine blessing that we thought we weren't selected and didn't manage it. But at the same time, I do have like this remorse too. So I just wanted to share the whole story with you guys so that you guys understand what happened and this kind of comedy of errors. And that's how it all ended up. So now that I've said that, any questions or any comments about that whole weird situation? I'm looking at the chat. Yes, things sometimes happen because of something. Yeah, that's the thing, is I really just have to keep believing that, everything is in divine order and everything happens exactly as it's supposed to, even though, it was perfect. It's all perfect. So that's the FDA. So quickly, just to mention Dr. Brown, because I don't think there's much to mention. We had talked about it, a few weeks ago when I had mentioned that, I was invited to present in person, and that maybe we were even going to do some in-person filming. But that was actually when we had others on the team that were local and that wanted to do in-person filming. So at this point, I'm just going to do it remotely like this with his class, even though I could go to his class in Coral Gables. I'm just going to just do it by Zoom. And I'm not sure if we're going to get the recording, because normally there's a privacy thing with the students, that it's not supposed to be made public because it's a class. You guys probably know about that better than me. So, so I'm not sure if we'll have the video from that. We'll see. But I'm going to have a presentation, either an hour, hour and a half, I'm not sure, next Monday, live with his one class, and then he's going to share the video with his two other classes. So that's what we're going to have. So there is an opportunity for us as the outreach team and the production team to talk about the opportunity, also the recruitment team, because again, last year, this right around the same time of year, attracted 6 students to begin the whole project. It was really like 10 or 12 that expressed an interest, but it ended up being 6 that ended up joining and starting the first teams. So we do have an opportunity perhaps to recruit some students out of his class, and we want to look at that. And we also have the opportunity to share whatever we want. And even if we don't get that recording, we can record another version of the presentation. Because again, when I prepare like an hour-long presentation, like I will, then it's probably something worth recording, and then we can chop up and all of that. So we should talk about the script and the concepts and all of that the same way we're talking about everything else. I've said enough about that because I want to reserve time for everything else we want to talk about. So any questions or comments, anything anyone wants to share about the opportunity with Dr. Brown in his class? Nope. Okay. So let's also quickly address this one other thing first before we get into the video processing, and that's how do we make assignments better defined? Because that was one of the things that Alexis brought up when she and I talked earlier. And Alexis, do you want to share what you shared with me, and then we'll talk about it as a team, your thoughts about it?
Sorry, my phone froze. Basically, I was saying that maybe we can like have some type of like instructional, maybe on the minutes, saying like exactly like step by step what we're gonna do. And Jared said maybe we can have like a section that can be like highlighted, specifically just for that part. So if anybody has any ideas or suggestions, anything. I believe that's all I said. I don't remember like verbatim what I said.
Yeah, I appreciate it. What I took from what Alexis said, and she just said it pretty well, is that she said she thought it would be helpful to have whatever our assignment is like written out in writing, right? So that it's with a step-by-step process, so that everybody can see it, everybody can talk about it, everybody can be looking at the same words on the page to know what it is, and that we can collectively create that is kind of what I was thinking. And you guys tell me, but I think what makes sense, the way Alexis and I were talking about it, is we publish the video as quickly as we can. We get the well, even before the minutes are available, any of us can go into the video to maybe find the part of the video where we're talking about each assignment that we mention in the video. And this is where also, and I don't think we're not gonna have time to talk about it now, but we should come up with a system of creating flags, you know, so like when we're talking, and I did this recently with some of you, when we're in the middle of the meeting, to say, hey, flag this, you know, make this a part of the minutes, make this, you know, whatever. And so we need to have a system like that so that we can have a way of kind of even knowing, oh, our assignments are under these flags. Here's the 3 timestamps where the assignments are for the week. And then any one of us can go in and start to pull out what those assignments are, take the transcript, summarize it down, make it a step-by-step process. We can all watch the video, look at the transcript, and decide like if this makes sense to us and make it better. I'm trying to imagine how we can do it as a collective process so that it's not on one person, and we can have, you know, kind of the group mind create it. What do you guys think about that? Thank you for the thumbs up, Maria. It takes some self motivation on each of your parts, because people have to take leadership to do it. So I think that the team leader is going to have to do it at least. I think the person who's doing the minutes can be a person who's doing it. And I think at least 1 or 2 other people on each team, depending upon how many people on each team. Are on each team, I should say. So what do you guys think about that? The leader, the minutes taker, and then we have at least 1 other person that's designated to help work on pulling out the assignment. Does that sound like a good plan? And on each team, we'll have one person volunteer for that. So on each team, actually, we have a backup minute taker, don't we? We usually do. So maybe it can be the backup minute taker. What do you guys think about that? And if we don't have a backup on every team, we can set that up now, at least for these 3 teams. So does that sound good to you guys? Okay, good. So I didn't even ask, I can't remember if Katie asked, is there somebody taking minutes in this meeting? Oh, that's a big missing. We were supposed to cover that early. I forgot about that. Okay, so for the research team, and what we're going to do, the way we're going to break this up right now is we're going to have the research team, although the research team meeting is getting near an end, but who's ever going to do the minutes for the research team is going to go back through the video and work on the minutes. So we're going to have the research team person do the first hour, and then we're going to have a production team person do the second hour of this meeting. But also we want to have standard minute takers for each meeting so that, every week we don't have to, figure out who's going to take the minutes that week, that it's set each week. And we normally want the minute taker to not be a team leader of the particular meeting that they're taking minutes in, and normally try to have minute takers not have to take minutes from more than one meeting, but have at least everybody taking minutes for one meeting. So let me see a show of hands. Who's already a minute taker in some meeting? Who's a regular minute taker in some meeting? Okay, great. So Alexis and Maria. Alexis, which meeting are you the regular minute taker in?
Production team.
Okay, great. And so you'll be able to take the meeting minutes in the production team tonight?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, great. And so Renasia is normally your backup for the production team, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see by the production team if Renasia is able to join us again. I saw her chat that said she was having an emergency. So let's see if she's back. If she's not back, we'll figure out who our backup is. So for the research team meeting, there's not a regular minute taker. We haven't had a regular minute taker, or did we lose somebody? No, never the whole time. Okay, so let's identify who's eligible or not eligible. So Alexis, we're trying not to be because she is taking minutes in the production team. Katie is leading the research team right now. Maria and Mariana are not in the research team. So it's basically Johnny and Sabah. So Johnny, you're up for being the research team minute taker, or you want to say something? You're raising your hand to volunteer?
Yes, I was saying I could do it.
Okay, great. So let's have you be the research team minute taker regularly from now on. That works for you, Johnny? And we're gonna, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. And we'll give you some additional training because I know there's some tweaking to the way that you did it last time. I want to have you follow a different format for this time. So check with me before you actually process all the minutes. And I think we have a video somewhere. Does anybody know where the minutes video is that Ariana created or Mackenzie created? I'll have to go back and see where that is and find that. Let me make a note real quick to find that and send that to you. It's actually probably in our handbook, I think. Okay, great. So, and then Sabah, can you be the regular backup to Johnny in the research team meeting? Okay, great. So then, again, the three of you will be the ones that help extract the assignments from the research team each week. So basically, it's just whoever gets to it first, right? So whichever one of the three of you can get into the video and create the first version of what the assignment looks like, you'll share it into a document, and then the other two will also watch the video, tweak the document, change it, whatever. So all three of you will go from video, transcript, meetings, whatever you're using to source it, and then help to refine what the instruction looks like. Does that make sense to everybody? And so this is an example where this is where we want to flag the video, 6:48, although I'm not sure what time we started. We started a little late, probably about 44 minutes into the video, or 45 minutes into the video, 46 minutes into the video. But this is where we want to take this assignment and pull this out as a video. And that 2 minutes that I just shared of how we do it helps, you know, break it down into a written assignment of what I just described. You guys get it? That was the video description. We can pull out the video description. Now you guys need to go to work on turning what I just said, words out of my mouth, into a written format of what the instructions are of how to create the assignment. Does that make sense? Kind of reflective thing here. Okay, so any questions, Johnny, Katie, Sabah, do you guys understand? Oh, thank you for sharing the minute tutorial. That's great, Katie. So Johnny, go ahead and grab that. Sabah, also please grab that, because I know that some of the things that you had done also needed to be moved around, and I know Johnny followed that format. So let's get you guys up on that. Really, everybody that takes minutes that hasn't watched that video should. So let me go ahead and make a note real quick. You need access to that document, Sabah? Yeah, let me click on it. So it's on the drive. You should have access. Let's check on that later. Because everybody should have access to the entire drive. Yeah, not in the VCP. So is it possible, Sabah, that you're logged into a different Google account than your VCP account? Because I also was in that mode just now.
I'm checking.
Okay, great. Okay, we can sort that out later if you don't have access. I want to keep moving because we still have a lot to cover. So, okay. Mariana, you don't have access either? Okay. So let me make a quick note. Let's just look at it lightning fast. We really can't spend a lot of time. Let's see. So it looks, Mariana, like you're an editor of this folder. And Sabah, it looks like you're an editor of this folder. So I'm not sure exactly why that would be. Let me grab the link real quick. I would think it's the same link that Katie just shared, but let's see if it's a different link. Is that what Katie shared? Yeah, it is. So, okay, we'll have to work on that mystery later. And so Sabah and Mariana, the link I just shared is still not letting you in.
Oh, I got access. It was just like saying that I needed to change my email because it was my email, and then
Okay, yeah, I need to do that too. So maybe that's it, Sabah. Check on that and see if you can. Okay, great.
Access this, but not the Katie's one. So I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, it's fine. It's working. Okay, so let's get back into, now that we've got the assignments sorted out, and that was important, and we wanted to cover that, and that's great. So just very quickly, we got the 3 for research, Katie, Johnny, and Sabah. So for production, we already have that Alexis and Renasia are normally the 1 and the 2, and Maria. That's great. And so in outreach, Mariana is leading right now. And do we have a regular minute taker in the outreach team meeting? You, Maria? Okay, great. And then, so I guess Sabah, you would be the backup in that meeting as well. So does that work for you, Sabah, to be the backup in the outreach team meeting? Okay. Okay, so let's leave it at that. And so those are the 3 people that'll all work on the assignment. And so the research team, 3 people will pull it out of this video, turn it into an assignment, give it over to the other 2 teams, and you guys will execute that every time there's a meeting video. You'll go through the video and you'll pull out the assignments and put them in a written format that'll get added to the minutes. So we'll create a new section in the agenda/minutes for assignments. And then that's where the assignments will be for each week in a written format for everybody. So does that work for everybody to help make sure we're all on the same page with all the assignments? Okay, does anybody have any ideas about ways to improve that in any way from the system we just came up with? Does that seem like it's going to be a good system to everybody? Okay, good. Okay, great. Thank you, Alexis, for helping push us in that direction. You're satisfied with our solution, Alexis?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great, great. You're welcome. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and let's continue. And we're going to get right into the example, as I shared, of what it looks like to process something. And we are going to get into looking at Renasia and Alexis, what they shared for our different video, but I want to use this as an example for you. Like I said, it's a short video. So really the overall is, how do we summarize, organize, and break things down? How do we make them digestible to the world, right? That's really what we're trying to do. So this is what we're doing right now. We're creating models for the world. So I've kind of been explaining that already. So one is the video processing model, right? So we're creating a model of processing all experts around all issues. So here's a sample. So this is a video I just uploaded. You guys haven't seen it yet. It's like I said, it's a short video from the other night when I was walking. It was the one that Renasia and Alexis processed already was the night before this. So now I'm going, this is like raw, as you will see, very raw. But also, as you'll see, you know, not all of this video is suitable for the public. There's a lot of pausing, a lot of, you know, just not exciting dialogue. But there are bits and pieces where we could say, oh, this 20 seconds would be really good, you know, to pull out. And also, there's a lot of content in here that relates to other content. So again, some of it's video, some of it's words. Just to remind you, you know, the way that I'm seeing it is there's kind of different levels or different ways to process videos. And we're going to have to decide if each one of these different ways is like, it really essentially is like a different specialty. So you could have one person doing like the minutes level. So essentially replicating what's done in a meeting for the minutes that you guys take, you know, so scrolling down some of the examples of, you know, Johnny's minutes from last time and Sabah's minutes from the time before and Sabah's minutes from the time before and Alexis's minutes from before that. So we have these examples of the minutes level of processing information, okay? So there's still that kind of way of doing it, I guess you could say. But then also we have kind of this transcript level, which is essentially the way that I see what Alexis and Renasia did is they went ahead and created, they pulled the transcript. For those of you that haven't seen it, this is what it looks like. So they went into the transcript and they polished it up quite a bit. So it's not just straight out of the video as I thought at first. It's a polished version of the transcript in all of these sentences, and we'll actually do some editing of that to show more of what I'm envisioning. And then we have like the video cutting level, to where we're getting to where like we should cut the video here and we should cut the video here and we should use this 30-second clip for something. So each one of these to me is almost like a different way of looking at the video. You're looking at it on a minutes level, you're looking at a transcript level, you're looking at it on a editing the video, cutting the video up level. Are you guys seeing like the different mindsets of how you approach the processing of the video in these different ways? Is everyone seeing kind of these different levels of processing? Are there any other distinct types of levels of processing that you guys can visualize? Any other ways you would describe it or think about it? No? Okay. So part of, again, where I think the hang up was a little bit last week is I was kind of collapsing all of these, right? I was kind of talking about them all at once and saying, you know, I want it to be like this and kind of like this and kind of like this. And I kind of wanted it to all happen at once without really understanding that it was really like 3 different processes almost. And it can be done by the same person, you know, going through the video, that can be thinking in those different ways. Like as they're taking the minutes, then they're pulling out the transcript, then they're going ahead and finding a video to cut. So somebody that is skilled in all 3 could be doing it all at once. And I think in the long run, that's what we're looking for, is to find people that can do all 3 all at once. So we don't have to have 3 people working on it. But what we're going to do in the beginning, as I shared, is each one of us, all seven of you, are going to process this one video independently. And you can do it all at the same time, or you can do it 3 different ways, but you're going to provide minutes level processing, a transcript level processing, and a video level processing. And I'm going to demonstrate all 3 of them all at once to a certain degree right now. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Everybody ready to see what that looks like? Okay, great. And again, part of what we're doing now is that we're all doing it together so that we can all learn from each other. Okay, so we all have different ways of doing it, all different ways of seeing the world, but we each are going to do it separately. Then on Thursday, we're all going to come together and share what we've done. So really what I want you guys to do is to start sharing early on Thursday for those of you that can be ready. So here's the assignment. Somebody make a note, write this down. This is where each of you are going to do the 3 levels of processing of this 1 7-minute video, okay? And if you can be done by Thursday morning, or even sooner, whenever you can be done, you're going to go ahead and share it, and we're going to figure out exactly how you're going to share it. But we'll create a document, and you'll share it into the document, and then, then that way people on Thursday during the day, can look at everyone's example, and then Thursday, so you can kind of as I'm saying this, I'm wondering actually, let's not do that. Let's keep it simpler. I'm going to make it simple. We're all going to have it done by Thursday at our meeting on Thursday, okay? And then what each of you are going to do is each of you are going to present your 3 versions. You'll each have 1 minute per version each. So you'll have 3 minutes total to present your 3 different versions. Does that sound good to everybody? And then what we're going to do is we're going to spend the rest of the time basically brainstorming and figuring out, okay, now that we see all these different things, you know, whose do we like, which one is better for this and which one is better for that, and what makes one better than another, and what do we like about this, and what are we missing in this. And we're gonna, by having all these examples and then brainstorming about it, the idea is that we're going to learn like best practices of how to process a video. Does that make sense for each of these different types of levels? That by all comparing and contrasting our notes and talking about it all, we'll develop our best practices, at least best practices that we can have by Thursday. And then we'll keep, you know, improving our best practices as we keep refining. So Katie, you want to say something?
Yeah, I don't know if this is a stupid question or not. But by 3 versions, do you mean 3 different ways to cut the video, or do you mean like 3 different versions of each level, or?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Let me, not a stupid question, let me go back in. So these are the 3 different levels. So when you said 3 different ways of cutting the video, actually each person is only going to have one version of cutting the video. So what cutting the video is going to look like is where you're specifying, I think, and I'm going to do it exactly right now. I think we could cut right here to here and use this snippet. So the video cutting level is where you're finding snippets that you think are usable for a compilation video or social media or somewhere on our website. It's just some usable portion of video. And you're going to see very well unusable portion of video where you see me pausing and doing whatever. So I'm going to show you examples of what a portion of video looks like. So that's the video cutting level. And then the transcript level is going to look more like this, where it's not about cutting the video. It's about, pulling out the concepts out of the in terms of the words. And then the minutes level is going to look, again, more like this, where it's going to be like, now Jared's talking about this concept, and now Jared's talking about this concept. You get what I'm saying? Is everybody following what the 3 different levels will look like?
Yes.
Any questions or clarifications needed around any of those levels?
Yeah, I have some questions. So like each of us will do 3, all those 3, or 1 for each person?
Yeah, let me get back to it again. So, so Maria, for this one video that I'm about to show you, just this one, everyone's doing the same video. Maria, you're going to give us the minutes version of this video, which is going to look something like this. Okay. And then you're also going to give us a transcript version of this video that's going to look something like this. And then you're going to also give us a cut level of this video, cutting level of this video. And it's going to look something like, timestamp to timestamp, and then like some summary of what that timestamp does. And then you'll have however many cuts you think can be pulled out of this video that are good cuts that could be used for something. Okay, does that make sense? So you'll do one, you'll do this one, you'll do this one, then you'll do this one. So everyone will have just one version of each different type of level. Okay, everybody got it? For the same video. Yes, can I share the link of that? Yes, let me do that. Okay, so there is the video. I'm starting a minute in. The first minute will probably be entertaining for you guys, but not so much content. And that's the thing, is that you'll find that, not all the video contains, the stuff we're looking for. Some of it just might be just me talking. Okay, so let's go.
I feel like I have to get so quiet in my life, shut out the rest of the world, please.
So I'm running it right now with the transcript going at the same time, so you can actually watch the words go by if you want. And to remind you, for those of you that didn't remember or maybe didn't see it, you can see the transcript for any of our videos, a lot of videos on the internet, but you have to hit a setting, which I always do. So you go down to these three dots and then you click open transcript, and then it opens this up here. Normally what you see is this. Normally it's just suggested videos, but when you click on the three dots, you click open transcript, and then it puts the transcript over here, okay? And then you have these three dots which toggle the timestamps. So that just shows you where in the timestamp the video is. And you can also click on it and it'll jump to that timestamp and start from that point in the video. So that's really helpful as well. So if you want, you can have the timestamps. When you toggle the timestamps off, like I've shown you guys, this is where you can, click and drag across some of it. And that way you can, if you want, you can copy that text there. And that's how you're creating like the transcript version. The challenge with this, as you can see, is that when you paste it, it pastes it with all of these line cuts. So it doesn't like come out like flowy. It's got all these extra line and carriage returns. There are some apps where you can paste this and it actually turns it into a flowing paragraph. I've seen that happen before, maybe even in Microsoft Word. So you guys should experiment pasting it into all kinds of different programs that you have. And if any of you find that it turns it, and when I say paragraph, it ends up looking more, like this, where everything is flowing rather than broken up, right? So again, there's some apps that you can paste it into that'll turn it into the flowingness. And if you find that, we want to know so we can, practice with it. So anyways, I'm going to get back, let you guys watch it, watch the transcript go by, and I'll do, a little bit of all three of these processing. Any questions as I'm going into this? Okay.
I feel like I have to get so quiet in my life, shut out the rest of the world, be here, walking down the street.
Can you guys hear it, by the way? I know it's a little quieter than a lot of videos. Can everybody hear it okay? Okay, good. So this first part, as you're seeing, it's not directly related to all of our stuff, but it's kind of interesting background story kind of thing that could definitely be a part of like, the background of all of this at some point. I want you guys to hear actually what I'm saying here.
Get so quiet in my life, shut out the rest of the world, be here, walking down the street. Total quiet. The world is quiet. And in this quiet, from this quiet, I'm able to see and feel an entirely different world, entirely different existence that is created in my mind in this moment. So I'm not walking into an empty street. I'm walking into a visualized and created future that has all these different moving parts.
So again, most people don't hear me talking this way. In fact, nobody's heard me talking this way. And I think that in the combination, like we've talked about, some things on our website are going to be very, buttoned up and processed and all of that. But then we're also, especially on our social media or in other places, we're going to have some of these kind of like background stories, like behind the scenes of like, so, to me, it's an interesting concept to say, I'm not walking into an empty street. And you guys, again, you guys know this, and this will be part of the story as we have video after video, day after day. Here's Jared walking through the neighborhood at 4 a.m. in the morning, you know, where it's complete quiet, right? And this is like a big part of the origin story of what all of this is, that I've been literally walking in the quiet for years in order to be able to visualize this whole like world that's getting created now that, you know, you guys are seeing bits and pieces, and I'm throwing all these, you know, concepts out. But it's been years in the making of building all this up energetically so that now we can bring it into the world. So this is a part of the story, especially for people that are like, wow, you know, that makes a difference for them. So, and we're going to get into more of the other like specific types of things. So let me just continue here real quick.
I'm engineering all these different ways of making things work in ways that they're not hooked up right now.
So that's like a soundbite that probably should be in the transcript, is that, you know, can say something like, we're engineering all these different ways of making things work in ways that they're not hooked up right now. And so we might polish that and change the language a little bit, but that's kind of an important concept. You guys see that? That we're just like changing the wires a little bit. I think actually I say that in the next line. Let me see here.
You gotta pull out all the wires and switch them all around and put things up in a totally different way so
you guys get that? So again, this is just a nugget that we could use as an analogy in something. So this is not going to be a video clip. It's not like suitable for a video clip. It may make it into the minutes in terms of a concept, but what we're stopping on right now is really more like something to get into the transcript version, so that at some point somebody on the outreach team or some other team can take those two sentences and polish it up in a more polished format, and then put it out with as a meme on Twitter. You guys get that? That we're pulling out all the wires and switching them around to rewire our world in a way that makes it work. You get what I'm saying? And so you guys see how like you're able to extract that nugget out of this in the one way that it would work. It doesn't really look like, you know, the video is not great for that. The words aren't even coming out perfect. So it's more of like raw concept that's going to get reworked in a written format type of thing. Does that make sense? And may even become part of a script for a video, but at least you're getting a sense of where it falls in the processing. Let me continue so we can get into more of this.
Yeah, the leveraging the best of what we
Let me go back to get that sense.
yeah. Around and put things up in a totally different way. Wires and ways that they're not hooked up right now. You gotta pull out all the wires and switch them all around and put things up in a totally different way so that we can be leveraging the best of what we have to work with, in particular our intelligence.
Okay, so here we're getting to the point. So again, now we've been going through some words. There hasn't really been any gold in there. We're just kind of cruising through, waiting until we hit something. And I know, because I've gone through the video already, that I'm hitting a concept that's like a trigger, which is intelligence. So we're going to have like these major like organizational categories that we're collecting a lot of things under. And intelligence is one of them, right? Because you guys know, we have the Choose Intelligence brand that we've, you know, worked into our first video, and the idea that it's really a matter of each of us making intelligent choices. So now I'm starting to say intelligence. So this, whatever I'm about to say, could potentially be something that could be used in the intelligence category, Now we just have to see what I'm going to say to see if, it's something we want to process in one of those 3 levels or more than one of those 3 levels. So let's see what I have to say about it.
Our intelligence has gotten us this far to be able to develop society to the point that we have. I personally would like to believe that we have not reached the peak level of our intelligence yet, that it's not all downhill from here, although it would appear so from outside, from what we're creating, how we're destroying our own environment to the point of our own suffering and death. And go there.
Okay, so you see how I trailed off at the end and started to go off on a tangent. So, but you see where I gave a real distinct description of intelligence, right? An important concept, because we're operating under the concept that we have not reached the peak level of our intelligence yet, right? And that's also a really, for me, a really interesting kind of angle to take with people. It's like, here at Uniting for Action, we strongly believe that we have not reached the peak of our intelligence as a society, that we actually can operate on a much more intelligent level and keep evolving more intelligently. And here's how we suggest we do it, right? Here's all of these ways that we believe are, in more intelligent ways of doing things than we are currently doing them. So again, you see where this, 30 seconds or so of me speaking here, again, not a video clip. There wasn't anything like super exciting that if we take those 30 seconds, it's going to, necessarily be what we want to put out there. But the concept is something that we want to rework, put into a script, maybe reshoot as a 30-second thing or something like that. You guys following me still? Any questions about the ways that I'm describing processing it? Is it making sense? And is everybody feeling like they could replicate this type of processing with this video and with some other video? And I'm making it easy for you because you're actually going to be doing this video. So I'm giving you all the answers in advance. But now we'll get to see how everyone does it, and then we'll get to see what it looks like and compare notes. And then any of you that finish early and want to do some other videos, we've got some other videos to work on too. So let me continue so we can just continue the exercise.
I know that I personally and a lot of people on the planet have a lot more intelligence to go. We have a lot more ways to have our intelligence exhibiting itself in the world, and Uniting for Action is just example after example after example of that for people to really get.
Okay, so again, what we're describing is we're describing a way to describe Uniting for Action, right? So what I'm looking for from you guys in processing this video is to somehow extract this whole concept out, right? Hey, we haven't reached peak intelligence. Uniting for Action is showing ways that we can be more intelligent. We have to find the other people that are, want to be intelligent and make intelligent choices. This just becomes a part of the whole, everything we're collecting under the intelligence category. So that then again, when we're ready to shoot or ready to edit a 3 to 5 minute video about intelligence, we've got this content as like script material or, concepts that we could reshoot, clips. Making sense to everybody? And that's where, again, just to show, because again, once we process it, once we chop it all up, so once we chop it all up, then we're going to be adding it to these collections. So in this case, intelligence is a collection. We have a collection of things about intelligence, and we're organizing these collections of information. So sometimes we're connecting the dots between them and figuring out, is there a hierarchy? Is intelligence a top level concept with other sub concepts under intelligence? What concepts does intelligence fall under in the hierarchy, right? We want to have like a hierarchical structure of our information to make it easy to navigate. So we have to figure out what that looks like. That's part of our job. Part of what the research team is going to be focusing on a bit, I believe, more than the other teams, is the organizing of the information, that sort of thing. And then again, getting to these compilations is where we're heading to with all of it. So let's continue and let's keep processing.
To really get that the
So again, all of these like long pauses and stuff is an easy cue for you that like we're not going to be using this as a clip, right? So you'll start to figure out, what can make a clip. And it doesn't even matter the quality of the video. The quality of the video could be poor, but the content could be great, and it could be a great clip for us to use. It's just that like with all these pauses or me going off on tangents, then we know we're not going to do a straight cut. Maybe we might take snippets of it, but this whole concept does not lend itself to a video cut.
we have so much more potential within us than we're currently seeing realized in the world. For those of us that can see the extreme difference and see how simple, step by step, I'm just laying it out, very simple, step by step, just take one step in front of the other to be.
So again, that's a really basic, like repetitive theme for us, is just taking step by step, putting one step in front of the other. That's like almost like a catchphrase for us. It's something that we're going to keep repeating. It's something that we're going to put out on social media every now and then. It's something that we're going to have on our website somewhere, just really explaining to people, listen, everything we're laying out is all doable. All the steps are very doable. They're being done by people in the world every day. All we have to do is just, attract those people to work with us and just take all of these steps, step by step. There's nothing that's so overwhelming about it. So again, you're pulling this content out of the videos.
To realize this completely different reality that works so much better for us.
So let's go back and take that concept from beginning to end, because this is on the edge of video clip. It may be worthy of a clip. It's right on the edge. So let's watch it one more time.
We have so much more potential within us than we're currently seeing realized in the world. And for those of us that can see the extreme difference and see how simple, step by step, I'm just laying it out, very simple, step by step, just take one step in front of the other to be able to realize this completely different reality that works so much better for us, has so much more win-win synergy, extracting value out of economies of scale and the leveraging the power of the collective, tapping into inspirational energy.
So now each one of those you may recognize as a breakthrough in our list of breakthroughs. Economies of scale, leveraging the power of the collective, tapping into inspirational energy. So this again is where you're getting to see the organization of this in relation to the others. So these could almost be like tags within this content. And maybe that's how we have to start doing this, is maybe we're going to be tagging this content. So this content, this snip can be tagged with economies of scale, leveraging the power of the collective, tapping into inspirational energy, because I'm talking about those things now. And also those can be like bullet points as we're turning this into like the minutes version of this. So we can be having like bullet points of what I'm talking about.
All sorts of ways that we really all can choose we can all choose how we want to visualize the future, how we want to visualize what's possible, and how we want to work, create that vision in our head, a reality. It really come.
So that's a concept, I think, that, again, to me, this can be pulled out, and this may be a clip, but for sure is at least something for the transcript. So let me pull it out for you guys so I can show you. So starting here, we can all choose, you know, and this is really simple. This is only like, you know, a sentence or two. I'll even put it into the chat. So pretty simple. We can all choose how we want to visualize the future and how we want to visualize what's possible. So maybe we edit that a little bit, and how we want to work to create that vision in our head, a reality. So again, you could see where this could almost be like a quote from me that's made into, again, like a meme that's shared on Instagram or shared on Twitter or shared on Facebook or something like that. You guys now, again, seeing how we can find all of these pieces within the raw content to be repurposed and combined to put out into the world in different ways. Is everyone seeing all the different ways, all the different levels? Again, we're going to finish up with this. We've only got like a minute or two left, but I just want to make sure that everybody is learning to see the video the way that I'm seeing it, and that you guys are feeling confident that you can go back through and, you know, create these different levels of processing. And then I think what we'll do, I'll give you the other video that we've got, and we'll still look at what Renasia and Alexis did as well. And I'll give you guys that link as well, so that when you're done with this 8-minute video, that you can work on the other one, and we'll see who gets any of that done or gets that done by Thursday as well. We can review that, whatever anybody can get done by Thursday. So let me continue real quick.
Down to it. It just comes down to each individual.
So I'm going to start up here and let you listen. So now I pulled that clip. It still continues some, and I like where it goes afterwards, but this was a little more tight. But now I'll let you hear where it goes after that.
We can all choose how we want to visualize the future, how we want to visualize what's possible, and how we want to work to create that vision in our head, a reality. What it really comes down to is it just comes down to each individual's commitment and how much are they willing to work or put in or do to make their vision, their higher vision, the best vision of the future, their actual reality. And then for us, it's also giving all these tools.
So that's another distinct like concept right there. So again, you can make it into the transcript. So kind of picking up where I ended last time. So we ended with reality last time, and this thought here, what it really comes down to is just comes down to each individual's commitment and how much they're willing to put in or to do to make their vision of the future a reality. So something like that. So that's a good, again, transcript part portion to put into our pot to work with.
Their actual reality. And then for us, it's also giving all these tools and options and ways for people to be able to realize that, to have systems that facilitate turning intentions, matching intentions with the resources one's is willing to commit to fulfilling those intentions within a system that can connect the dots and almost automatically fulfill those intentions.
So then that again was another like distinct concept that should make it into the minutes. So each one of these distinct concepts should be summarized in the minutes with just like a quick phrase. So, something about, turning intentions or matching resources with intentions to create an outcome or something along those lines. And then, possibly this makes it into the transcript. Well, it should make it in the transcript in terms of that particular concept going in that way. We're almost near the end here.
Almost automatically fulfill those intentions. But in the end, it comes down to where is everyone at right now in terms of what they're willing to do on behalf of whatever they care about. Because the system allows everything that everybody cares about to be addressed. So people can choose what do they care about enough to be willing to put something into the pot to make it happen.
So that's a great quote right there, right? And I said it well enough that it's possibly it could be a video clip, but for sure this can be like a meme, essentially, is people can choose, and we will edit it, so I'm going to edit it on the fly. People can choose whatever they care about and enough to be willing to put something into the pot to make it happen. You can definitely do a little bit editing on the words, but the concept there, people can choose whatever they care about enough that they're willing to put something in the pot to make it happen. That's, a core concept of what we are all about, right? So again, that's something that makes it into our library of content one way or another. Is everybody seeing that? And is everybody starting to feel like you would notice these things in the video, in the next video that you're doing on your own, that you would say, oh, that could be a great quote that Jared just said. Let me pull that out, And remember that by you pulling things out and adding them into, the processing document, you're giving a chance for that thing to have further life, right? If you don't put it in that document, in a sense, it disappears from our reality because it was in the raw video, but it never got into all the stuff that we're processing in the world. Does that make sense? So it's where there is a real responsibility for you guys. And that's why I described it this way on Thursday, on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, when I talked about it with within the teams with Renasia and Alexis and with you guys, is that it's super important role to be playing in this processing for our team, because there's so much dense content, in what we create in our meetings even, but also when I'm sharing like this, it's a lot of dense content. We've got to find a way to extract all of that and use all of that to our advantage to be able to communicate, valuable things and interesting things and inspiring things to people, so that people want to be engaging with us. And different things are going to resonate with different people. And that's why we're going to be popping a couple or a few of these off, every day on our social media, our different social media channels, and, sharing different clips from our meetings. this is just the processing of my video, but we're going to be processing all of our meeting videos similarly, right? So now we're going to be chopping up all our videos. So then when somebody goes to the research team page on the website, it's not only all of the recent, 1 hour meetings, which will be there and people can watch them if they want, but also there'll be all of these 2-minute clips and 3-minute clips and all of that with very interesting, titles, so that people can just, click on it and see 2 minutes of last week's, meeting, or 2 minutes of this meeting that's really interesting and they want to hear about. So is that making sense to everybody? We're taking all this raw, rich content that we have, and we're figuring out ways to process it, edit it, and put it into digestible formats that people are interested in it. Because in the raw format, it's not necessarily that interesting or even able for anybody to sort through it at all, right? And especially when it's all of these kinds of random concepts all over the place, we've got to pull it out, out of this 7-minute video, we're pulling all different pieces out and putting it all in these different categories, right? All of these different ways of categorizing the information. Then it makes much more sense when it comes together and is presented to somebody. Okay, is that making sense to everybody? Is there any questions about any of this? It feels like everybody's getting it and all you guys are on the right page with it. Any questions or comments from anybody?
For Thursday, do you want us to actually do the cutting of the videos or just put timestamps?
Yeah, just timestamps for this Thursday to start with, because again, we'll use the data points to then maybe finalize on the ones that we choose based on what multiple people have selected. Oh, like everybody thought from 6:30 to 6:50 was a great portion, so let's use that one. So we'll kind of use, again, the group consciousness, group intelligent to choose our video cuts. And then once we choose them, then we'll actually cut the videos. Sound good? Okay, great. Thanks for asking that question, Katie. So let's finish up with this and then we'll brainstorm a little bit more about how we're going to manage all of this. We've only got 30 seconds left now.
And what are people willing to, people can choose what do they care about enough to be willing to put something into the pot to make it happen. And what are people willing to put into the pot to create these systems that facilitate all of these solutions, all of this massive progress around all of these issue areas, this quantum changer for our reality.
So that's an interesting word phrase that I've never actually used before that I remember. So quantum changer for our reality. So that's, again, where you can say, hey, I haven't heard that before. That's interesting. Quantum changer for our reality, in quotes, and again, that can turn into a meme or something else. What Uniting for Action is doing is creating a quantum changer for our reality, something like that.
We each get to choose what we're willing to embrace and be responsible for in our lives.
And then that last, quote, we each get to choose what we're willing to embrace and be responsible for in our lives. So again, that could potentially be a video clip or something in the transcripts. It can make its way into the minutes, possibly as a concept. I'd have to see, possibly. So anyhow, I think we covered enough in that video. Let me hear any final questions or comments from you guys now that we've processed that one whole video. Any thoughts?
I have one question. When we put the meeting, the minutes basically, or in any of the 3 forms that we have to do you want us to say oh, Jared said this, or actually the concept right away?
Yeah, just the concepts right away. Yeah, you don't have to say Jared said, you don't have to keep repeating that. So yeah, thank you for asking that. In a meeting format, when there's a lot of different people and anybody could say it, then you should specify who said it. But if it's just me talking, then you don't have to mention it each time. Okay, great. Let me add the other link. So you've got the link to this YouTube video. Let me share with you the link to the video that Renasia and Alexis processed, and we're going to look at that one as well in a moment here. Look at what they did and let Alexis walk us through it real quick. Not sure which video this is. Let's see. Okay, so this is the 27-minute video that obviously has a bit more content, and I'm sharing this link in the chat. So I would say, because you do have a decent amount of time between now and Thursday, let's make the assignment. The assignment, if it works for you guys, is for everyone to have completed the 7-minute video that we just did, all 3 dimensions or all 3 levels of processing. Does that work for everybody? Can I get a thumbs up from everybody that works for everybody? Okay, great. Thank you, everybody, on that. Perfect. And so then the second one is anybody that can complete it or complete any portion of it by Thursday's meeting. And I think that some of you, should have enough time in terms of the numbers of hours that you have allocated for the week. This is our #1 priority for hours, and that's why we're combining the teams. So wherever you're going to put your hours, like this is it. So as soon as you process that first 7-minute video, then I want you to process the 26-minute video. And in the 3 dimensions, same way, the 3 levels. And I expect that a number of you, if not all of you, could potentially get that done by Thursday as well. So whoever can, and hopefully it's all of you or almost all of you, can get that done by Thursday as well. And then again, we'll compare notes and talk about that in Thursday's meeting as well. And what I want you to do is, as soon as you've completed the first video, the first 7-minute video, and you're moving on to the next video, then please mention that in the chat so we can kind of keep track of where everybody's at and how everyone's progressing. And so let's make that part of the assignment. So whoever is taking the assignment now, we never even switched minutes takers. Did you guys figure it out to switch when we hit the hour mark? I didn't even think about it. We're into the production team meeting now. Thank you, Alexis. So, okay, great. So the assignment now for Alexis and Maria, Renasia is not here, but the assignment is also that when you're done processing the 3 levels of the 7-minute video, that you put a message into the chat. And let's use, instead of making a new chat for the 3 combined teams, let me think about this. We will make a new chat for the 3 combined teams. I was thinking of just doing it in the main chat, but let's not overload the people on the business and recruitment teams. So we'll make a new chat. I'll add us to the chat, and then that's where, when you're done with the 7-minute video, you'll announce it in the chat, and then that way the leaders, Mariana and Maria and Katie, can keep track of where everyone is at and follow up with you guys appropriately, and then you'll move on to the 27-minute immediately. So As soon as you can finish the 7-minute and move on to the 27-minute, go right to it. Race to get that 27-minute one done with all 3 levels by Thursday. Like I said, I think that's achievable for a lot of you with the numbers of hours that you have committed for the week. So any questions about that as the assignment? Nope. Okay, great. I see the no from Katie. I see some shaking heads. Nope, no questions. Everyone's got it. Okay, great. Okay, very good. Let me go back. I think actually, let me think about it. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to share about all of that. Let me just check, but I don't think we have anything else we want to cover. I want to kind of giving you the context of everything else. Oh, let me put the other link in here. Okay, so this is sample number 1. And here is sample number 2. Okay, great. Okay, great. So let me ask you guys how you feel, if you feel like we're on the right track of addressing the challenge that we have in terms of ways of processing our raw content and turning it into consumable content, essentially. Do you guys feel like we're on the right track with this process? And as long as we just keep practicing and sharing with each other and coming up with better evolved best practices, that we'll just keep getting better and better at it? You guys see that? And do you guys see how we can translate this whole process to any expert, to any content that's out there in the world, that we're basically, processing stuff that's out there? And well, let me just ask that. Do you guys see the universality of this and how this really helps, like I said, almost create like a whole Cliff Notes version of processing information and then providing it to people in a consumable way? You guys see that? It's almost like a journalistic process in a sense, right? Of like collecting information and breaking it down into like an article or a video or something like that. You guys see that? But it's a little bit more involved and detailed around information rather than journalism in a sense. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So do you guys feel like this is, to me, this is like, cutting edge of helping society deal with information and come up with systems that can be replicated and crowdsourced, so that again, we can have the crowd doing all of these sorts of things with all of this content and pouring all of their processing into our system. So basically all of this content that's out there can get processed by all of these remote workers everywhere. And now, collectively, we're all kind of processing all this information for each other. You guys see that? So, okay, good. I'm glad that you guys are all seeing that. I'm going to give you guys a little sneak preview now, just to get you guys even more excited about all of this. And then you guys, I think, will really be able to see the vision of where this is going. On the chopping up the videos side, we talked about this a little bit before, and I'm just going to drop this again. I'm not sure that it's possible with YouTube, but we could have a platform that could allow us to chop all of these things like individually and then collectively share them into a pool where they can be, you know, put back together and put into whatever format that they want. So each one of us can become like a video generation machine in a way, that we each can become like a producer, like, which is what a lot of people are doing, like on social media and stuff, right? A lot of content creators. This is like a whole new kind of level of content creation, if you guys can see it that way. A lot of content creation these days is made, well, this does actually combine with like the packaging and the delivery and the people and all of that. And we're going to see how we do that. And actually, as I'm saying that, I want to encourage any of you, have any of you been a content creator, like you're putting out content on YouTube or Instagram or whatever? Yes, Maria. Anybody else? Alexis, you were doing some of that, weren't you? No, I haven't gotten into that. How about anybody else? Maria, or I'm sorry, you said Maria. Mariana, have you been producing content a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit, like just basic stuff, but not like for real.
And what platform are you using?
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, maybe we'll start to take a look at your Instagram and follow. You want to share your Instagram so we can follow you and start to check out your content?
Yes.
What is it?
All right, I'm gonna put in the chat.
Okay. Do you want, and you can say it on the video if you want people watching the
Oh,
video to
all
know
right.
it too.
All right, it's Mari Martins, Martins _A.
Okay, great. And Maria, thank you for sharing that, Mariana. And Maria, do you want to share yours as well?
Yeah, sure. Mine is also on Instagram. It's MARENUNEC23. So
Okay,
as
great.
in Mary, no Maria, like Mary Nunes 23.
Okay, great. And can you put it in the chat as well? And so now everyone in the team can go and follow Maria and Mariana and see, you know, ways that they've been packaging content. And all of us will start to be content producers now to a certain degree with us doing all of this. It's essentially what we're doing is we're helping to produce content in-house and organize it and all of that. So I'm really excited. I think that this is going to be a really big shift for us because it's going to allow us to really put out a lot of original content that's going to allow us to have followers and people that are interested in our content. It's going to make our website fresh all the time. And it's going to really help people understand what we're doing and the depth of what we're doing, because we're going to have all of these deeper details that people can dive into if they're interested to dig deeper. So are you guys excited about kind of being on the cutting edge of what's happening right now in terms of merging content with consumers? Awesome. Awesome. I really honor and appreciate each one of you for, yeah, thank you, Katie, for the celebration. Let's all celebrate what we're doing here. We've got, you know, we really are taking big steps, and this is really awesome. You know, in the history of humanity, we're making breakthroughs, and this is an important one. And we're going to, you know, become masters of this process internally. And then we're going to train others through tutorial videos and all of that as we get good at it. And then people all around the country and around the world are going to start to do this. And it's going to make all of the content that's out there much more consumable and much more useful for people. And we're going to really start a trend of having a lot more engagement around all of this, especially once we start to have all the experts sharing all of their content. So great. Thank you guys so much. I really honor and appreciate you guys. Anything else that anybody wants to share before we wrap up? Nope. Okay, thank you, Katie and Maria and Mariana for your leadership on these teams. And thank you, Johnny and Sabah and Alexis and Renasia for all the great work that you guys are contributing as well. We're really rocking it. So let's keep going. Go teams. Thank you guys. Have a great night. And I will see you later. Bye-bye. Good night.